Hi everybody, thanks for coming by. I got kind of unprepared on this video. I don't know what I'm going to really, I haven't organized it, so I hope it doesn't turn out too bad. But this is a story about kind of where we went from our trailer, and living off the grid, how we got used to living off the grid and the phone and the water and that kind of thing. But I don't like to have too long a video, so I may make this a two-parter. But anyway, we were in that trailer for about a year, and it was really rustic. And I slowly didn't have a lot of money, but we stockpiled a lot of lumber from working at the lumber mill and stuff like that, and I was also working too. So I ended, and I'm a experienced builder and stuff like that, and electrician. So we ended up, stayed there, I think it was about a year, maybe, something like that. So then we decided to build, we had enough material for like a small, maybe 800 or 900 square foot cabin, little two-story. Nothing fancy, I mean, bare as it gets. So we picked a spot out with a little bit of a little local, I guess, view, and we started building on that. It was all by hand, hand footings, and we, it was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of work, and the whole family did the best they could. But anyway, so as we built it, and it was a little tiny thing, like, I don't know, 16, two stories, 16 by like 24, I think, something like that. And we put a really big bedroom. The upstairs was one big bedroom. And all the boys just got up there. There's no wall dividers. That was it. And then we had the single floor at the bottom, and we didn't have a bedroom. Me and the wife slept on a fold-out bed for a few years. And so anyway, so what we wanted to do with not having electricity, we wanted to make sure that we had as much propane appliances as we could. So we got a propane refrigerator, the little older ones, but they were pretty good, pretty reliable units, and that was propane. And of course the stove's propane, and and everything, and the hot water heater and all that, and that eliminated some of that. So, but I don't want to get into complex things for you guys on the wiring. But I wired the house for different circuits. Mainly, we had a little bit of solar panels out there. I didn't have a lot, but they were kind of expensive back then, not like now where they're kind of cheap. So we ended up having some solar panels and a few batteries, little RV batteries. That's the panels that charged, and we put our inside lights on those, so we'd have automatic lighting. We wouldn't have to start inverter, or something like that at nighttime. So I did that, and then we put in we hooked, the battery bank, which was connected to the solars, also had a battery charger on it. So if that we fired up the generator, it would charge up the batteries too. And these batteries were hooked up to, like I say, I don't want to get too technical on this. People are not really interested. I don't blame them. That was hooked up to like where we had the TV, the outlet for the plug for the TV and computer and things like that. And then we had one last circuit, was a generator circuit, and we had that was hot all the time, like for vacuum cleaners. We didn't have a big power source, so at the time, so we it would be hooked up to washing machine, things like that. It took a little bit more power, and so we'd start the generator outside, and it would the house would come hot, and it'd be charging the batteries, and it was a good little system. So the other thing, we didn't have any water. I told you we had that little spring that we did, and that was a lot of So we eventually had enough money to get it that we got a well put in, and then we we put a water holding tank on the hill above our house. So we'd pump the water from the well, which is on the lower property, about maybe third of a mile up a hill, and I had a backhoe at the time, so we buried the line above the house. So then we had gravity flow water to the house, and it worked out, pretty good. And we built this house since then, but this is the other one we had. Now there wasn't any cellular phones at the time. They were before they came around. So any phone calls we had to make, it was we had to go to the local, not the local, but the phone pay phone down at about 5.5 miles away. We had to go down all the way down to make a phone call. So he didn't make many phone calls. So that's what we did. And so as we built the house, and the house turned out basic. But we had our TV and we had everything we needed. And we stayed like that for, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years, sleeping on the floor, or not the floor, but the couch. And then my dad he had a couple of small strokes, and it was weird because when he had a stroke, he would wake up after a stroke. He seemed like it was kind of normal, a little slow in the head maybe, but he was normal. But he was waking up with his slippers wet, and he lived in a big apartment complex, 300-400 units in there in the Bay Area, and they would be all wet. So he was sleepwalking. And they get out every night, and pretty much most every night he'd open the door and walk out, and and he's walking around the neighborhood 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and a lot of the neighbors were out and they see him walking around at 3 in the morning. Hey, what are you doing? And so and then he got, what really made the thing with him was he went to bed and he woke up driving his car, and and he had a cop on his tail with the lights going, and he didn't know what the heck. So I guess what happened, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, I think it was, something like that. And he had gone by a sobriety check, in the Bay Area, and just drove right on by, and they went out to get him, and I don't know, he got it all straightened out. But so we offered my dad that we could take care of him, because he was having the neighbors hold on to his car keys, and he didn't know really what to do, because this is happening all the time. So so we offered him a place to stay up at our house, and with the kids and everything. And so when he said yeah, he was all for that, because they had somebody to take care of him, And he was getting old. He was walking with a cane. His eyesight was going. Hearing was going. And so he said, yeah, that worked out good for him. So we ended up building 2 bedrooms onto the back of the house, and another bathroom. So we had we had 2 bathrooms. So we did that. We built him a bedroom, and then we had our own little master bedroom, a little small thing in a bathroom. So we ended up building on that, and then we just added on to the power system and things like that. So we stayed in that house for a long time. I think it was, I'm not sure, but I don't know, 12, 13 years, maybe something like that. Kind of an ugly little house. We put a front porch on it, and but it was home for a long time. A lot of the kids moved out when they all moved out. When I got 16 to 18, they moved out of that house. And so anyway, but that's a story. It's kind of a quick little story about how that we, what we did on the grid. It took time. We didn't have a lot of money. We couldn't do everything at once, and I didn't have the knowledge to do a lot of the wiring at the time, because it was solar, and I never did that, and things like that. But that's how we got it going. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.